What is the closest non-sexual thing to an orgasm you have experienced? That one time I used a neti pot and the sinus infection that had been ruining my life for the past week came out in one glorious blob. I swear to God it was like the size of a softball. All one gelatinous blob. I cried. Amazing. Edit. Wow, this blew up a bit. To answer a few questions. I only use a neti pot with distilled water and medical-grade saline. Getting bacteria all up near your brain is a bad idea. On that note, if you want to try this, you need to clean the pot before and after really well. Personally, I use boiling water, followed by hot water and soap, followed by a rubbing alcohol rinse. After each use and before I use it next time. Boiling water is why I have a ceramic pot and not a plastic one. A lot of people find that using a neti pot makes their sinus infections worse because you're essentially shoving the bacteria deeper. Personally, I've never had this problem. But your mileage may vary. Some people like to use a rinse like once a week or so to prevent infections from forming. Again, it seems to depend on the person quite a bit. I only get sinus infections like once a year. Always in the fall when the farmers out south of Lake Okeechobee burn off all the dead sugar cane. All the smoke and burning pesticides are very irritating. So now I know to start rinsing regularly around that time to prevent infections from starting in the first place. Edit number 2. I'd suggest trying it in the shower at first so you can clean up any splashing easily. Also, it is pretty uncomfortable, especially at first. It's a bit like waterboarding yourself. But once you get the hang of it and how to breathe during, it's actually very nice and the end result can be lovely. Also, make sure you warm up the water a little bit so it's not cold. However, make sure it's not hot because burning your sinuses is not good. I've made that mistake. Not fun. Also, make sure the saline actually dissolves all the way so you don't get the little crystals in your nose. Getting my ear flushed out with warm water. Years ago I used one of those beeswax candle things that supposedly suck wax out of your ear when you light them on fire. Well, some of the ash floated down into the cone and hit my eardrum. So I went to the doctor and they flushed it out with a warm solution and it was the most satisfying feeling I've ever felt to date, orgasm aside. I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever and was lost in a brutal heat pain delirium for several days. When the fever broke, I was immediately drenched in sweat and felt a relief that was damn near orgasmic. The first time someone used one of those wire head scratchers on my scalp. By God, I was making goat noises. It was awkward, and yet so good. Had a severe poison oak rash all over my upper arm and shoulder. It itched like mad. I went in the shower and turned the water to near scalding hot and blasted my poison oak rash with it. It felt so good I had this weird full-body orgasm. I was shuddering in pleasure as I stood in the shower. Drinking cold water when you're very dehydrated. Eating the food you've been craving. And it's actually satisfying. Edit. And actually getting food out of your teeth. Abdominal pain going away and looking thinner after letting out a long airy fart. Paying all bills off and having money to spare. Finally letting loose with a burstingly full bladder after a long car ride. I'm asthmatic. The first breath with an inhaler 12 hours after your asthma starts to bother you and you forgot yours at home. When you get that first full lung full of beautiful air. Edit. Wow, didn't think this would blow up like it did. Thanks for the shiny metals. Asthmatics and other troubled breathers represent. One time, I had a big stretch after a few hours sitting at my computer. And my back popped in 5 places. So good. I had 2 huge plastic stents placed into each nostril for an entire month after surgery to fix my septum. The month was fucking dreadful. I finally went in to have them removed at the end of the month and the doctor pulled them both out along with massive clots of bloody boogers. Holy fuck. That first 15 minutes after was like heaven on earth. I teared up and had a big fat smile on my face walking out of the hospital. It was such an amazing feeling. When you feel like you're gonna throw up and the stomach ache goes away when you burp. I'm not a very good musician, but I have had a few really great experiences with nailing some improvisational moments with a few friends. There's nothing quite like it. When you get water trapped in your ear canal and it finally releases. I was barely able to hear for almost 2 months thanks to a really bad infection I got after chemo. I woke up late in the afternoon and my eardrums just started spasming. Then all of a sudden I could hear. Hearing again basically made me cry out of joy. But the eardrum spasming was oddly pleasurable. 1. There was a possibility I was gonna need surgery that might cause permanent damage, plus not being able to hear music in a very stressful time wasn't great. That and I listen to music on a daily basis for probably a solid 8 hours out of my awake time in a day. It helps with my anxiety. Farting really loudly when no one's around. Listening to music at night. This is made 1000 times better if you listen to music at night while traveling through a big city. I actually look forward to long car trips for this reason. Stepping out of heels. Or scratching under the top of socks, bra strap. Rubbing my head after it's been buzz cut. Getting into clean sheets with freshly shaved legs. Remembering the right answer for a test. No one gonna talk about the feeling when you rub your eyes and you can't stop. It feels like an eye orgasm? Hot shower after being cold. Stretching your body really far. Popping a joint after it's been sore for a while and getting a sudden flood of pain relief. I drank a whole theater-sized large soda before watching Return of the King. By the end of the movie, I was having what best could be called air contractions. Taking down an overly tight ponytail and rubbing your head after. Having a really huge shit. Sneezing. People playing with my hair. I always can't help but roll my eyes up out of satisfaction. It's weird that I do this, that's why I don't like people caressing my hair. Edit. Thank you for the award. Oh. Closing all the Chrome tabs after a long uni project. When I was much younger, I was a pretty hardcore stoner. The first time I planned to do a mushroom trip, I stocked up on traditional munchies. Chips, pizza, Hot Pockets and stuff. Few hours in, I decided to bust them out and was mortified at how overwhelmingly disgusting it all was. Next trip, I went out on a limb and bought a big bowl of mixed fruit. I literally could not contain myself. I had to go outside to eat it away from my roommates because I could not stop laughing maniacally at how unbelievably delicious it was. Every bite, every gush of fruit juice, sent me into pure, giddy, holy bliss. I can only imagine what our neighbors must have thought of me sitting in the backyard cracking up and losing my mind over a bowl of fruit. Crawling into cool fresh sheets after your shower on a day you were at the beach. Sun exhaustion. Clean feeling after shower. Comfy in sheets with the AC on. My favorite. Edit. You all keep commenting about shaving your legs first. You're all absolutely right. Being very tired and falling into a freshly made bed with newly washed bed linen. Like heaven. Edit. Well, what do you know? Just writing a comment about sleeping and now I have gold. Thanks, kind stranger. Okay. I don't know how that happened, but a few years ago I pulled a thin thread of snot. As I pulled more and more, it would be getting thicker and thicker to a point where I felt like I was pulling my brains out as I pulled a snot the size of a golf ball from my nose. The feeling was the most satisfying I had ever experienced then. Edit. I forgot to mention the tickles while I pulled. Hell, that was a pleasure experience from start to finish. Edit 2. Great. My most upvoted and gold awarded comment is about snot. Rip in peace inbox. Waking up before my alarm. Realizing I have hours and sinking back into bed. Fresh warm bread with olive oil and pepper. I'm honestly the kind of person who prefers silence over music. But when you listen to something powerful and it fits your mood, that's great. That moment of bliss with taking the bra off at the end of the day. Warm sheets on a cold winter night with the smell of burnt wood from a fireplace with a steady rainshower outside. Finally sneezing and when the chills come up your spine. That first spring day, it smells like spring. Like, it's official in your head when that scent hits. Going to a concert and making eye contact with band members. Peeling plastic off new electronics. Having your head rubbed as you fall into a deep sleep. Rubbing my bare feet on deep pile carpet. Removing that piece of food stuck in between teeth after several minutes or hours of attempt. The original Wii startup noise. Eating a warm, fudgy brownie with ice cream on top. The foodgasm was real. At a gig, when the lights go down and the music starts. That feeling of the bass in your chest. I spent an entire night coding for a coursework without running it until it was finished. Ran perfectly with no errors first time. I moaned so loud. Had a bag of ice slapped against my chest while I was overheating at a rave. Getting my back scratched. That said, everything remotely orgasmic is sexual in my book. Including buttery food. Edit. 1000 upvotes? Wow, it's like getting a back scratch from the internet. Getting a splinter out of my toe after 2 days of it being swollen and painful to touch. Seeing and feeling that horrifying long piece of wood pop out of my toe, pure bliss, followed closely by the sensation of finally getting a blocked ear canal irrigated and unblocked. When someone else washes your hair. The girl that cuts mine does a little scalp massage and shit at the same time, and yes, that. A glass of water when parched. Hashtag hydrohomies. G-force of a roller coaster. Eating a sandwich with chips in it after swimming all day. Scratching my eczema-riddled skin. It's so bad but feels so good. Getting into bed after a long day. A good hug. Getting a massage. Delicious food. Eating some really delicious food. Finally getting to lie down and go to sleep when you're exhausted. A steak I made one time tasted orgasmic. I've been trying to replicate it ever since. I eventually found out it was mostly the salt that gave it the flavor I wanted, but it might have also had to do with the butter or how I cooked the fat. I've come close but still never got the same flavor like I did that one time. It was a ribeye cut, and that's what I always use now. Foot massage. Back massage. Head massage. Ecstasy. And cocaine.